What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your host, Rise Rocket League, here with my ex-teammate, Joyo Kami, our great
Hello.
co-host, Rizzo, our other co-host, Johnny Boy, and our Australian co-host, CJ. Welcome to Chalkcast number 43. How are we all doing, guys? How are we feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling
Why
good.
am I just the Australian co-host? Like, there's not like our Scottish,
there wasn't much else there.
American.
Scotland and America aren't like interesting enough. You know, Australia's
Well,
different
brutal.
gravy.
Australia is
That's
very
what I said.
different. Yeah, very, very different place. Very flat place, actually. Not a lot of mountains in Australia.
True.
Very,
Cheers, Johnny.
very big flat place.
Yeah, that's a great analysis there.
Cheers. This guy's always thinking.
No, there's
Thanks for that. Didn't realize I was in school.
what's the Uluru? That's pretty sick.
That's got a bit of an incline on it, Johnny.
Yeah.
What about
Uh-huh.
Tasmania? Where
It's
are there
quite
any mountains
hilly.
in
Tasmania.
Hilly in
Yes, a lot of
Tasmania?
It's kind of like more like New Zealand,
Mm.
Tasmania. So
That's
I
like
heard
Lord
that's
of the
like-
Rings for people who aren't familiar with New Zealand. Just think Lord of the Rings.
I heard that's like the
Yes.
Wales of Australia.
Tasmania is like the Wales
yes.
of Australia.
yes, if you're talking about the innuendos that I think you
The
might
allegations.
be about.
The allegations.
Allegations, yes, that we are known like New Zealand for that sort of thing.
Are there
Free the sheep,
more
bro.
sheep
Let's
than people?
let's take a second here.
Free the
Let's
sheep.
take a second.
I think
and
we
reel
can
this
keep
back
going
in.
on this
Let's reel
topic,
this
Rizzo.
back in for a second.
I don't know why.
CJ being the allegations.
EU, Sam, OC, Mina, and APAC have the major teams confirmed, but who cares about all those regions? We got NA upcoming this weekend, fellas. Come on, who are we hyped for?
No one.
Are-
I'm not watching.
What?
I'd say they're
Bro,
probably
this is the most
well,
hype
Sheik.
regional ever,
Um,
bro.
I'm joking. I'm
It
joking.
is hype. It is hype. It's actually
It's like a
super hype.
10-horse race, right? Like down to
Mm,
Shopify,
yeah.
everyone can still make it. Okay, yeah.
Down
I
to
may be
Shopify,
there.
everyone can still be seed 1 going into the major.
Woo. Okay, yeah. I'm definitely watching then. I will be there. I changed my mind.
I will be there no matter what.
Rizza just wants someone else to say that they're hyped for NRG so he can,
I'm hyped for
Double-
NRG.
Be Wizard.
Got
Actually, yeah,
Daniel
no,
in that.
NRG. I think everyone would be happy seeing them make it back to a LAN. If they make the LAN, it'll be.
I'm hyped. I think
Rizzo, do you want to do a watch
Everyone-
party?
Look, what are we? 3 minutes into Chalkcast, and I already brought up energy. Look, all I'm saying is energy has to get top 3 to really have like a solid chance. Are we believers?
I'm a believer.
They
got
can do
top
it again,
four
bro. They
last
can do
time,
it
yeah?
again.
They did get
But they can
top
go
4.
far
They
again,
did, yeah.
sorry.
it's possible, but tough.
I want to
Very tough.
believe in it, but at the same time, I can't see it.
Did you not
It's not
see
happening,
what
Rizzo.
the Muffin Man did against Complexity in Game 5?
I did.
Did you not
Look,
see this?
I saw that off the right wall. It took me back to Urban Central when the trains were going
Season
past.
4.
Metanoris was floating up and he fakes.
Poor
under.
defense from Meta though. Like,
Wasn't it?
you've just gotta
I'm
go
gonna
to
say,
fake.
wasn't it Magnus? I think Magnus got he was first challenger. He just didn't go for the
I thought
ball.
Meta was first challenge.
I thought
I'm
Meta
gonna
was
say,
first
I'm gonna
challenge
say
as well.
Magnus, but maybe check.
Is this
and
an
find out.
Mandela effect? Maybe Metanoris was the guy helpless in the goal, actually.
I
think
mean,
think
enough
Metso
of
was in the
that
goal.
though.
Like
Is
I
that
wish,
the main
I wish
point
Magnus
is
hit
that
the ball.
Big Squish, the Muffin Man was the one scoring it. I mean, what a beautiful performance this guy had. To be fair, like you gotta rate it. I think if he keeps it up, bro, I think the sky's the limit.
This is such a North American thing as well, to have themselves on their own weekend. All the regions are finished, and now we're just waiting on North America. You know, me. You know, it's classic move from this region.
That's because we had to go and lose CRL to Dr. Boomin or whatever.
PZY is the goat. PZY is the goat.
Zedo.
Zedo as well. Shout all the
Zedo.
goats, bro. And Fabzo, the goats.
Aren't 2 of them KBM players? I think they both like
Zedo
CRL.
and-
Fabzo.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I think it's Fabzo and Zedo at KBM.
Zedo definitely is.
That was
Zedo is-
crazy.
Zedo's
Also,
a KBM Dominus, and they beat NA like RLCS players in CRL.
I
finals.
lost
What is
all
happening?
my Rocket League channel points to that grand finals. I wanted to be known to the world. 93,000 down the drain. And those are just strictly watching channel points. Those were not... I didn't gamba for this, okay? I just watched.
If you
Like,
watch
this is not-
you watch EU quals, you know PZY is that guy. He's a
He's
bit of a
him.
demon. He's a bit of a
Wow.
demon, yeah. He's got some crazy mech.
Like this
Can-
isn't just having a week delay. This is also a week less boot camp for the major teams, and in turn a week less boot camp for the World Championship team. So this is hurting the North American region, all for the sake of losing to a random EU CRL team. So I think there's some massive ramifications to come from this, and why EU is going to dominate the major. But we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about. Wait, let's take a second to talk about EU. Okay, let's recap what happened. Wait, what?
Yes.
It was this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm
2 days ago.
losing my mind. Yeah, 2 days ago. Let's recap what happened. We had Hogan Mode go absolutely nuts, fellas. How we feeling about Hogan Mode?
The
I'm
boys.
So sad,
Goats.
bro.
Bro,
I'm
bro.
devastated, bro. They're so close, bro. I can't believe Rise just absolutely scammed us off the story of the year. Like, what was that about? Like with some
Look.
lucky goals and Forbidden Temple. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
All
what
good
happened there.
things come to an end, bro. And me, as much as anyone, wanted them to make that major, but I also wanted a date with Vitality, so I had to.
Well, the date didn't
Look,
go
I had
well,
to-
Rise. So
Look, the date
Maybe
didn't go
sure.
well, but
Practice is
but
practice.
it went better. The second date went better than the first, man. You know. So
well, no, you lost 4-1 again.
yeah, we did. But you could say like I think we played better in the second series, especially me individually. I felt like I played a lot better individually. So, Joyo, you're welcome, because we all know what would have happened if we had lost. You wouldn't be going to Boston, so you can thank me for that one later.
Do you think Hogan Mode is
Fine,
gonna
bro.
double? What is it? Double bracket reset or bracket reset Vitality?
100%, no doubt in my mind.
That's delusional.
All right.
That-
In
no,
my
that- that's
mind,
crazy.
I
And then
yeah,
they would have
yeah,
all
here we
played
go.
that titanium white battle bus and absolutely shit on Moist Esports. That's what would have happened. Charlie would have been there, sat on that couch with the whole of the squad, and they would have been embarrassed. They would have been speechless. A scrub killer on their head top ended their team's.
Yeah, war a dream
Run.
for you. No team would have beat Vitality in a bracket reset from the lowest. But
Oh
Go
wow,
off,
we got a
Queen.
hater. We got a hater here. We got a
Look,
hater here.
the thing with Hogan Mode that's disappointing, right? I was talking to Johnny about it during the grand finals. Is that against K Corp, I'd kind of just thought, righto, Hogan Mode, they've had a good run. It's time for them to go home. But then they 4-1 K Corp, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this team is gonna actually do
Yeah.
it. I was like, it was funny, but now K Corp's gonna ruin them. But then they wrecked K Corp, so now we're thinking, oh my god, all they have to do is beat BDS, and we've got a grand final and potentially a major team. And then like you guys, Rise, just ruined all the fun. They were 3-0 up in game 2, and then you came back and scored
Yeah.
a jammy overtime winner. And then
Yeah,
honestly,
well then I
I was,
turned on the style. Let's be real. Like I
you
kind
turned
of.
it on.
You
but
gotta
I
respect my
just-
performance, Joyo. Come
I
on, I know you
know,
were in that
but-
team speak with your team, and you were like, "Oh, thank God, Rise is so good, man. Thank God he's
I'm not
carrying me
gonna
into another
lie.
major. Thank God."
I'm not gonna. Aye, bro. Aye.
I'm joking.
Bro, the only man that will ever carry me to a major is Astral, baby. The goat.
But Joyo, were you getting like after the K-Corp series? Because I think that's when all of us, at least like in the green room for talent, were kind of like, okay, now hang on a minute, like whoa, like is this seriously happening? Like, were
I'm
you
gonna
sort
be
of starting to
real.
think? No.
When we beat PSG in the reverse sweep, I already knew we made it. Because G1 and Hogan Mode weren't gonna make a long bracket.
But
like,
when
reset
they
run
beat
after
K-Corp,
the
Joyo.
What
lower
about when they
bracket,
beat
like, lower
KC though?
bracket.
Did it change?
Yeah, did it change? Did you
No.
start to think? No.
No, I was in a Discord with. I don't think Cash was there, but it was me, Noah, our coach, Prof, our psychologist, and GC. And I mean, the only person that was like a bit. I don't even. There was probably a bit of troll as well, but GC was a bit stressed. But like, it was. I mean, since the PSG series, I was pretty much like, yeah, we made it. Because I didn't believe that G1 or Hogan Mode could make a lower bracket run and then there's also bracket reset Vitality and win the final.
I don't
Can-
believe you for a second. You were absolutely nervous because I thought that they were going to make it. The
I-
problem was, right, that for me, going into the regional, it was kind of like, oh, I'm excited to see if Vitality can, get the three-peat. But then Hogan Mode just became the story that overtook everything, made everything so much more exciting. And then once Rise just, dismantled them after that game too, it was honestly I couldn't give a shit about the grand finals. Like I
We were
was
so
just,
down. No, the whole Discord, we were so depressed. We were like,
Same.
man, we could have had Hogan Mode Vitality, but instead we just got to watch BDS Vitality again. Like, where's Hogan Mode? That's what we wanted to see. We were genuinely depressed because we thought, okay, if they could beat KC, they could beat BDS. It didn't happen. We felt scammed. But then I think first kickoff of the grand final was a double fake. I was like, oh, I'm back. I'm so excited again. I was immediately locked in. But,
I'll be
I
real,
really
like,
disappointed.
my mentality was like, we've pretty much made it, but if Hogan mode made a lower bracket run, bracket reset Vitality and beat them, then they deserve the tiebreaker. So I didn't really care. I was just like, yeah, okay, I want to see what happens. But like, I had no like shadow of a doubt that they weren't gonna do it, even though I wanted them to like succeed and stuff the whole split. And like, I wouldn't have minded playing a tiebreaker against them, obviously, because I'm confident that we would have beat them. But no, I mean, I wasn't really like I had a pretty lifeless reaction to making the major because it had already pretty much locked in my mind. But it was cool to see them like make a like deep run like that because I mean, some people thought Hogan mode were one regional wonder and they came back again and they did an even deeper run this time. So it's nice to see.
Did you say like if they got top 8 in the second regional, they would have made major or something?
I think if they got top 8 in regional 2. I think they would have got 1 point ahead of us and made the major over us.
Damn. Next season they got it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Stay together though.
Yeah, okay, so
I've said to them several times, to Growly and Rezi, if I see a Hogan mode change in this off season, I'm literally blocking them on everything. I'll be fuming. That's just the stupidest
Everybody
decision.
they'll lose all their fans, and they're already more popular than Karmine Corp winning fan votes. So I think
and ratios on
stay
Twitter,
together.
by the way.
They're ratioing them on Twitter effortlessly in seconds. In seconds. Yeah, Vatira was like, "Uh-oh, he's not used to getting ratioed," so he immediately deleted it because, yeah, they just assume anytime a Karmine Corp affiliate in any way tweets anything, they just assume they're gonna have the superior ratio. But yeah, Growly had a banger reply, so fair play to him. I don't know if we've got a screenshot of the ratio tweet for production here, but I'll see what I can find.
Yeah, I want to see somebody in chat.
Even if, obviously Vatira's, like, no one's saying that Hogan mode is now better than Vatira's entire career, but that's just one where Vatira just has to go, you know what, fair play, you know.
He opened a can of beans on that as well.
The thing is like, when you start something like that, Growly, like, just tweeted, like, in Regional 1, like, unlucky, we lost 4-1 to KC, and that was it. And then Vatira randomly replied saying, you're lucky we gave you a game.
Which is fine. I thought that was funny. I was like,
but
that's
if you give
funny.
it out, you have to be able to take it.
Exactly.
So you can't just get salty after that. You can't get salty if it happens back to you.
Like, yeah, that's my thinking exactly. Like, I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was quite funny when Vatira, like, ratioed Growly's like classic GG's KC. He, Vatira trash talked him a little bit. I was like, fair enough. Even though it's a little bit kicking him while he's down. I don't mind it.
Yeah, because Growly took it well. He said, yeah, cheers for the charity work, mate. Like,
he did.
Growly took it well. And if you, like I said, if you give it out, then you have to take it well, or else there's no point in giving it out. You shouldn't give it out.
Yeah, as soon as he got that back, he should have been like, yeah, fair play. I had that coming. I literally, said the same thing when I beat that guy. So, yeah, I don't know.
And he didn't have to rub it in. He didn't have to say, like, oh, well, you can't make a major. Because he already made the major over him. He's already got one over him. Like,
he's kicking down. He's punching down.
Yeah, like, he still did better than him in the split. Like, you just got to relax and be like, yeah, fair enough. Good job. Because they still did a better split than Hogan mode. So they can just be like, yeah, fair enough.
Or just say it. I mean, at that point, everybody was like obviously on Growly's side there. So, I mean, when he got ratioed, he should have just been like, yeah, fair enough. Leave it there. Deleting it is so lame. Come on, Vatira.
Yeah.
Like, I love Vatira's trash talk, but how is he deleting that tweet just because he got ratioed? That's ridiculous. Like, that's actually ridiculous.
I think, yeah, not everything's that serious. Like, sometimes you just gotta, like, accept the L. Because sometimes accepting the L is better than trying to recover it and then digging yourself a hole.
Look at this banger, by the way, from Growly.
He got absolutely ratioed by that as well. That was just poor from Vatira, but anyway.
Yeah. From our non-video listeners, so Growly tweeted 4-1 KC, Vatira lucky we even gave you a game. He did at Vatira there, literally like saying to Vatira exactly what Vatira said to him when they 4-1 Growly in Regional 1. Vatira replies, you can't even make major, don't talk, and then Growly ratios him with, and Karmine Corp have won the Hogan mode can't even make major trophy. And what is this gift from again? Is it?
It's like
It's like a
FIFA
FIFA
career
career
mode.
FIFA,
mode,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like
He's
it's
It's
they're just lifting an
invisible.
invisible trophy, an invisible
the trophy's
trophy.
invisible. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
brilliant. You have to go check it out. It's incredible. He tweeted a video of the invisible trophy celebration. It's incredible. So well
I mean,
done.
Growley's not saying like we are better than K Corp. I'm better than Vitirid. Like he's obviously being sarcastic because the dig is Vitirid. Like he punched first. He
Yeah,
threw
he's
the
farming.
first punch, and now it's just like a funny clap back at the end of the season. Like it doesn't really mean much. But it's obviously sarcasm sometimes can come across different ways in text. Maybe Vatira thought he was 100% serious, and he was having a go at him. So anyway, it was funny. But going on the EU regional though, Rice, can you talk us through that moment where I'm thinking of a particular moment in net where you and Seiko just absolutely bottled it, and I called it a plat play. What happened there?
Which?
Do you remember that? On Utopia.
Against who?
Well, it would have been Hogan mode.
On Utopia.
That's game 4 of it.
Oh, was it upper bracket? No, I
Are you
think.
talking about Vitality in the uppers? There's like
Maybe it
Seiko
was
on the
Vitality in the
backboard,
uppers.
and I was like on the floor, like coming back, and I like tried to like flick it out, and I got like dunked or something.
Yes,
I think
you
that's
tried
what
to
you're talking
dribble it in front of net. Was that Vitality in the uppers?
Yeah, so I was like rotating back. I think Monkey went and like forced, and it was like bouncing down. And Seiko, I saw like Seiko on the backboard, and I was like, "Can you go? Can you go? Can you go?" Like waiting for him to go, and he said like, "No, you." So I was like, "Okay, I'll go then." But I was like super awkward because I'd expected him to like jump, and then yeah, no, I think I just trolled.
The reason why I brought
just
this play up because I was casting that game, and I remember I said something like, "What has happened? Like, has plat players entered the lobby?" I said something like that, or Rise, like, what just happened? And I got called out on Reddit. This person said, "Who is this nobody caster calling a pro player a plat or something?" Like, how does he have the right to call a pro player a plat? What would he know? And I just thought it was the funniest thing ever because I know that you wouldn't care if I call it a plat
CJ.
player.
I think I'll be real. I think that the casting sometimes it's good to have it more like serious, but in games, especially in like regionals, where I think a lot of people have lost interest in a lot of the regionals now that there's a lot of lands.
Very repetitive.
I just got flashbanged so hard.
No, the whole
What
chat
did I
talking
see?
about it, so I put the tactical nuke goalless version on again.
So I like in the like games like that where it's like it means a lot, but at the same time it's like
there's not much on the line. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when the season's done. Like
I saw a
feel
comment
like
as well
the
on
is
that.
good.
That like
Don't change, bro.
I think it said, there's no way that I'm sick of all the casters or people online saying that the regional like doesn't mean anything because like they've already made it.
That was about
Or like
my
it doesn't
comment.
mean as much.
I
And
couldn't
it
believe
is
this.
it's true. If you're a player and you've already made the major, like it doesn't have as much meaning behind it, like every win. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know you're playing for seeding and stuff, but I know you still want to win. Obviously, like you still wanted to beat Vitality, you still want to win a regional, but it just does not mean as much. Like, it's just facts.
That
like,
was actually about
land.
I think it was about the BDS Carmine Corp series. I think me and you cast it at CJ, and BDS won it, and it was like really, really intense back and forth. The players were like popping off at the celebrations. Really, you could see how much it meant to them. And the way I worded it was, a lot of people say that the regionals if you're just playing for seeding once you've already qualified, that doesn't really matter. But look how much it means to them. I was kind of pointing it out. Look how much they want to win. It's not they're playing for seeding here, which is obviously a little bit important, especially in this format. But there's got to be more to it for it to matter this much. Like look how much they're celebrating. They want to beat their
everyone
rivals.
still wants to win.
And then somebody just completely misunderstood this as me saying they don't care about this game. I don't know how they reached that conclusion, but hey, Reddit didn't fact check it, got upvoted. Classic, absolute classic.
And I bet all the comments were, "There's Johnny with another one of his takes." they hate your takes, bro.
I didn't read the all the comments, but yeah, maybe. I mean, I read a few of the comments, and it's like somebody corrected it. Someone else was like, obviously hadn't watched the clip, just started waffling about how all the casters constantly do this. I'm like, no, they don't. It's like sometimes, it's worth mentioning if a match is only for seeding, and that's it. Like, for example, a group stage match in the winter split that is literally just for like seeding. You're both already qualified for group. You're just playing to see who you play next. Like, that's not going to matter as much as if you're playing for your life or death in a group. You know, it is sometimes relevant, but some people get, I guess, upset about that. They want to believe that the players are all in all the time and that they always care to
I
the
mean,
utmost.
I think that is true. Like for me, I didn't treat this regional or any series in this regional as any different to all of the 8 other regionals. Like I treated them all the same, and I'm not just saying that like to look like I care about everything like all the time. Like genuinely, like for me, the way I saw it was we haven't won anything this. None of my teammates or me have won anything all season. So like my best result, that was my first top 2 since Rotterdam. I haven't been in a grand final since then. So it was when we got to there, I was more like, let's just enjoy it, like appreciate that we're here. But yeah, no, like I want to win things because I haven't won all season. So
I'm also wanting to bring up again that the EU top 5 is pretty strong. On a more positive note, we've been talking about it all split. The EU top 5 for once looks like there's just 5 solid teams there. I think it's the case. But yeah, how I asked Radosin this after they won the final. I asked what he thought about EU's top 5. He thinks that he said it. He thinks it's clear. He thinks it's the strongest top 5 compared to like NA or basically any other top 5 that's happened from a region. But what do you guys think this EU stack is going to do? It's Vitality, KC, BDS, Team Liquid, and Moist. For those of you who've not been.
What do you think, Rizzo? You've been quiet in the corner there.
I appreciate you looping me in. Actually, I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure I actually I might have started that whole thing with like not EU's strongest top 5, but saying like EU looks like way above like NA competition wise. Yeah, with that tweet, it was like a couple weeks back. But and then obviously I think as well this is EU's strongest top 5 like they've ever had as well. But I do think also they look much better than NA. Like I always try to think of it as like how many teams can win a major, and I just feel like EU just has so many more capable teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I haven't watched much NA. The most NA I've watched is I think I was in Discord with Johnny Boy, and we were watching on his stream. We were watching some of the games, and even then I wasn't paying like that much attention to how they play. But yeah, no, I think comparing to last season, where it was 2 teams that could win, it was either us or BDS, as in us as in Moist. In Europe, I think now I wouldn't be surprised if 5. I'd be surprised if like 6, but I think there's 5 teams that could on any day beat.
Do like a very
the
deep
other.
run, a very deep run.
Yeah.
Every team's capable.
And even then, you've got like teams like Hogan Mode, teams like G1, teams like Oxygen, who on their day, like if they're all playing well, they can take games off like the top 4 as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think this top 5 in EU is crazy. And whoever said the strongest top 4, I don't know about 5. Suck my balls.
No, but it's kind of yeah. Whoever said that spitting facts though, no cap.
Alright, bro.
Tell them again, son.
Yeah, keep talking.
This is definitely whether it's the best top 5. It just doesn't have an imposter in the 5, which is good because like you look at the other majors, it's always either like the Drake meme, like on the NBA team, Blood thinks he's on the team. There's always like that team, which was sort of not to name names, but you look at Quadrant in the fall major, and then you look at maybe G1 coming across. Obviously,
I hate when subs start speaking like starters, bro.
But all like the clown meme with the soldiers. Yeah, it's just like one of those ones. But now I feel like this is the 5. And like fully, with all great respect to Hogan Mode, it would be the fantastic meme if they go, but it would be it could easily turn into that situation again if they were at the major. So, yeah, it's good to have this 5, a solid 5. And there's crazy people saying, "Oh, Moist, Hogan Mode should have made it over Moist." It's like, well, Moist beat them both times they played them, so you can't really there's no argument there. Like they got them in a head-to-head, so it's a good 5 there, Joyo. Well done.
I know, don't worry, I know.
It's a good 4, and then there's them, but.
So okay, so we talked about like
major MVP at 16. I'm the GOAT. Main character syndrome. Main character syndrome. I need to become the main character before Worlds.
I've got one other brief thing to mention as well. So we've got 5 locked major teams from EU. Sam, OCE, Mina, APA, everyone's locked except NA. And
I've got the
interestingly,
bracket up right now.
I think it's interesting. Maybe this is not interesting at all to anyone else, but I think it's interesting that for Sam, for the first regional for the first split this season, you had the orgs have changed a lot, so I'll say the players because the orgs keep changing. But we had Astromic and Bem's team and Team Secret qualified, which is Sad Night KV1, this Team Secret. Then the next time we had Team Secret and Crew qualify. And then this time we've got Crew again, but way back to Astromic and Bems, they've qualified again. So it's like the same 3 teams have all qualified twice each from Sam, which is pretty close. I think they're all pretty close at the top. But shout out to Motta, who has.
I love Sam. I love Sam.
To
on
go.
the league.
That's
Motta's been
also
picked up by
Also,
Johnny.
Astromic
Motta
Bems.
is so good. Motta's actually a
He's sick.
demon.
Yeah,
not to
Ninjas in Pajamas picked him up. Astromic and Bems picked up Motta, and they got second place. So they're
not
gonna
to
be
derail that, but that's 2 years in a row for OCE with the exact same situation. So
Yeah, no, OCE does this as well. Yeah, the little 3-way.
Can I
at the top.
can I just
Oh no.
okay, can
Go
I just
on.
interfere
What are
and
you
say
what
that
are you getting at?
I think the days of two two OCE major teams needs to come to an end. CJ, I'll keep it a book with you. I think that spot either needs to go to Mina or it needs to go to the Sub-Saharan
SSA?
Africa
Yeah.
region.
I think we got to give 2 to SSA instead. The way
2
we're
to
going.
SSA.
What, you get none? You get none.
The
You
way
get none,
we're
you
going,
get none.
it's not looking great. No, I'm with you. The region is
You get
in the
none.
bin at the moment. It'll need a big world championship performance, I'd say, to turn it around. It'll need a Renegades, esque performance just to dominate Optic Gaming in the wild card.
I mean, what I didn't understand was, in my opinion, going into this season, Kami was the best player in the region,
he
and he
was.
just didn't get a team, and then went to APAC. Like,
Yep.
going off
No,
of
his
Worlds,
style was
Kami was
different.
amazing, bro. Kami was amazing. Like, he
What was he
wasn't
like as a teammate?
Yeah,
Because
true.
maybe
Maybe
that's
that's really good
fantastic.
at Worlds.
Fantastic teammate.
He's a best
Legend.
bloke I've
Such a
played with.
legend.
That's why I teamed with him for like since 2017, off and on a little bit. But there's a reason why we kept coming back. He's a fantastic teammate, grinder as well. Always on the game. No, he is. He was probably the best player in the region at the end of the season. At World Champs probably because Fever dropped off a little bit at Worlds, but
Fever at the Winter Major
was
was
right
different. Wait, was it Winter Major? I think it was Winter Major. He was different gravy as well.
I know
But,
everyone was saying CJ retire. You're gatekeeping all these up and coming stars, and then they
the
come up
region's
and they
got
just
worse
get 0-6.
since you've retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The region's got worse. I always thought KCP could actually
Be decent,
go
decent in the
places.
lands. Yeah.
yeah, like they could finish in maybe like top 8s and stuff. And then they got rid of Super Lucky, and now it feels like the talent has just split over 2 teams
but
instead of just keeping it on one.
They were so mentally done though. Like they stayed together for the
I mean, they
fall, and
still
then
are,
They
I
were
think.
terrible in the fall. And then as soon as they made that change,
Yeah.
both Super Lucky's team and the Pioneers both improved. It seemed, and it was Power who got left behind. And now Power are back. Pioneers had some problems this split
Power-
with the scheduling was
Yeah.
a bit weird for one of their players not being able to play. Kind of sucks.
I mean, they
but,
won a regional with Tango, didn't they?
Yeah, they actually won a
Yeah.
regional with their sub
their best
playing.
result was with
Michael,
Tango.
shout out
Yeah.
Tango.
Yeah,
Bizarre.
we had a
player,
bit of a
Tango
mass
the goat,
exodus
bro.
at the top. John is saying that in chat. It's kind of like if NA you had like Garrett, Jane Apps, I don't know who else, like some other top players that have
Just
been around a while.
OGs, just all
A
retired
few
at the same
OGs
time.
just all leave at once sort of thing. So we did have a few, but I really think that we've got 3 good teams. We don't have one great team at the moment, and that
Yeah.
we probably need to consolidate into one super team for it to be competitive. But it's kind of up for debate who is on that team.
I mean, at
there's a
LAN,
few.
I would if I had to choose a team at LAN, to bet on to do good at the LAN, it's always Power now. I would always just go Power.
Yeah,
I trust.
Yeah,
I
but
trust Fever
I
the
think
most.
for a super team for next season, I think Amphis and Fever should probably still be. I don't know. I think maybe Torsos could go for someone like another up and comer.
I think
bring a
Banana Head
Super
could be
Locky or a
good.
Banana
I think
Head.
Banana Head, Locky, Kaka, Fiber, anyone on the top 3 teams. Just do
Yeah.
a few scrims, use the best out of all of them. Amphis and Fever just pick them up, and
Caveman Ben maybe.
But
Just
look,
one,
Rise,
Caveman
you're right.
Ben.
Right now, we're not competitive internationally with the new teams we're sending over, and we don't deserve 2 spots right now. I'm hoping that after this major, another warm up, and then
But
world
you don't.
champs.
You
someone
maybe
will
let's
show up.
say you don't deserve 2 out of 16, but like 2 if if the majors
Oh,
have
if
more
that they
teams
should
to
be
swap.
more.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
if
yeah.
they-
We
if
should
they,
be
like,
swapping
spot-
spots.
Like
Yeah.
one spot, having one spot is so rough because if your one team that you send doesn't do well, then the whole region is in massive trouble. Like look at Mina,
Yeah.
if Falcons, the 5 majors they've been at, if they have a bad event, well, Mina is just like out of the running. Whereas South America having 2 teams going to every event, usually one of them does terribly, but the other one does okay or good. If
Yeah.
you think of Furia's deep runs, Team Secret's deep run, Crew making a top 8,
Which
there's
is
always
what we
one
did last
SAM team
season in
doing
OCE
well.
as well. Like we
Yeah,
always had someone sort of
having 2
9 to
teams is
12
good.
or top 8.
I think it's better for the region if you get 2. So I think Mina should have 2. I think maybe I reckon just give 2 to APAC, 2 to SSA, even though they're not as competitive. I think it helps the region because right now, how are they supposed to be competitive if the one team that does go has a bad weekend? It just looks so bad. Whereas if one team has a terrible weekend, the other team can still pick up the pieces, and now everybody will be like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Everybody rates Sam off one of their teams doing well, not both. It's never both. It's always just one. So we can't judge APAC, Mina, for just having one team doing badly.
Yeah, to rephrase, as I said, 2 of the 16. If you're looking at like weight of how they're performing versus spots, they don't deserve it. But as I said, I don't think if we're going to add Mina and SSA is to say, hey, let's keep 16 and swap the spots around.
Yeah,
It should be let's get to 20
expand.
or let's get
Yeah,
to
20,
18.
24, something like that.
Yeah, 24
'Cause
would be perfect. You just
I-
add more.
I think the OCE super team would be Fever, Amphis, Kami, bring them back.
Yeah, I need
Bring
to
back
see
Kami.
Kami back.
Yeah, look, I want to say there was a bubble player in OCE that is the reason, and if he's watching, he'll know who he is. I've called him out. His name's Gus, so I'm going to call him out because he could have teamed with Kami and actually Fiber at the start of the season. We were talking about this on the OCE power rankings and stuff. He could have teamed with Kami and Fiber because FIFA was leaving to Power at that time. And Kami would have stayed in the region. But this guy, Gus, said, no, I think I'm just going to stay with my friends who are like, around 8, 9, 10 in the region. And then they disbanded after before the season started anyway. And Kami had already left to APAC because he couldn't get a good team. So if that had happened, he was a good up-and-coming player.
God.
Kami would have stayed in the region. He kicked him out of his own country and he had to go to APAC. So
He got
big ups,
exiled.
Gus, for
This
doing
is
that. He got
all.
exiled.
This is the problem we have in Rocket League. You see,
Oh,
Friendships.
this transition I can see.
friendships.
No. We need to.
I'm sorry, I've been holding it for like 10
Wait,
minutes,
wait.
so please.
Wait, we can't open that can yet. We need to really finish off this
let's finish off the recap and then we'll get back to that.
Once
No, we've had enough of this recap. I think.
No,
I
I had
babbled
one
on
question.
about this
I'm done
recap.
recap, but everybody watched it.
These
I had one
friendship
final question.
teams need to end now.
No, right. So listen. I've got one other question to finalize this. So we were just talking about 2 teams. Sometimes one of them does well at the major from Sam. This time I was going to point out that this could be the end of that because the brackets are kind of rough for them. OCE plays OCE in the lower bracket, and also for anyone who's not been following the OCE Worlds points, it will probably be a qualification match for Worlds. It will be a qualification match for
Yes,
Worlds.
it will be.
It will be.
Gibbs has rigged this
play
bracket, ladies and gentlemen. So if you look at Wikipedia, when they both lose, if they both lose their first...
And they play
upper
NA1
bracket
and NA3. So let's just say they play V1 and FaZe in the upper. They're going to lose, probably. And then they play each other in lower round 1, and the winner goes to
exciting.
Worlds. It is that crazy. So I had to point that out.
That's biblical.
But
That'll be
that
good.
means one of them will get
Scripted.
9th to 12th just by beating the other. Whereas for South America, Ninjas in Pajamas are playing Carmine Corp round 1, and then they're playing the loser of Moist versus NA2, which is probably Complexity or Genji or someone. So I think Ninjas Pajamas are in big trouble.
I think these Brazilian ballers can beat anyone on their day. I think they're similar to.
Agreed.
I think
You
they're
think
similar.
they could
I look
do
at this NIP roster. You've got Motta, who's a baller. Bems, baller. Astromic, baller. If they all peak.
It reminds me of that video. It's like, dog. Have you seen that video? He's going through his whole team and he's like, yeah, we got Chad. Dog. He's a dog. He's a wide receiver. Dog.
No, but
so
they are ballers, bro.
Baller.
And if
So
they
they could
pop
win.
They are
off,
very
they could
good.
beat
Individually,
Carmine.
they're all amazing.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you for that prediction, but I'm going to ask one prediction before we open the can of beans, and that is that South America #1 team Crew are going to play Rule 1, Mina's team, in round 1. So who wins? Everybody gets a vote. Crew or Rule 1?
That's so hard, man. Because you
Give me
see
Crew.
Rule 1,
Give me Crew.
you see Crew. Okay, let me start with Crew. Let me
Mm-hmm.
indulge. You got Drafinho,
Mhm.
dog.
Ah,
Jobs, dog. You got Brad, and he's a baller. So
He's a
these
baller.
man are gonna play the techie Mina players, who are also all ballers. Bro, that's impossible to call, bro, because we've never seen a matchup of this sort.
Well, okay, how
Never
about I
seen
ask you
Rule
a
1
different
online.
question then, Rise? Because you're also in that little quadrant of the bracket.
Yeah.
And you're going to be against NA5. And as we've discussed earlier, NA is just nowhere near EU, so you're going to dominate that. Who would you rather play in the next round, Crew or Rule 1?
I think. I actually have no idea.
Can I
think-
offer a point? Can I offer like a point to make you think differently about it? I think Rule 1 have nearly choked about 1,000,000 times every single major. I think, well, not major, like to make major, and I think Crew are less susceptible to just like choke. I
That's-
think Rule 1 on their day could play really, really good, but Rule 1 seem to nearly choke or choke every single time they play.
Do you
They
think
do,
that will be do you think they have the
but maybe
pressure on
they've
them
got
anymore,
past
though?
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
don't think they have any
when
pressure
they're
on them
when they're
anymore.
in the driver's seat and you've got the
Yeah.
best team, when you got the best team in Mina history, in Falcons, literally just gunning for you throughout the whole split when you're ahead. I feel like if you're ahead in that type of like only one team makes it, it becomes way easier to choke.
Like a
Whereas
weight
if
off
you've
your
got-
shoulders, I guess. Like you're not battling another team anymore.
Yeah, because it's for when realistically, I know it's like 3 good teams, but in my head anyway, there's 2 teams from Mina that can actually like make majors and do well at majors. Because I think Twisted Minds are good, but I think they lack like that little spark to take them to that level. Like Rule 1 and Falcons to me are the 2 clear best in that region. So when it's like a 2 team fighting for one thing, I feel like it's easier to choke.
So
And now they've got
I
no
hear that, I
pressure.
hear that.
Now they've got no pressure. I feel like it's they could just unleash the beast and.
Yeah, I think they
I
have
mean,
no
to be
pressure
fair,
at all.
I
to be
rate
honest.
both of those teams. I think it's game 5, right? It'll be best of 5.
Best
at
5,
that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I can really see that going to 5. I rate like both of those teams highly individually, and
Yeah,
if
I
they
think that's
show up on the day,
impossible
that's a
to
big
call.
game. It's a very big game. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
a minor region battle, and they're also like they're not new. Like Crew was at the last major and they had a good run, but like
Mhm.
going off of like especially last season into the start of this season, they were sort of teams that when you get told like they'd be at this major, like playing each other first round, it would be kind of a surprise. But they're both pretty cracked. Like individually, I rate them all. It's like probably the hardest game to call, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a tough one, I'd say, to call. And I think on paper as well, maybe NA2 versus Moist is a tough one to call. Some people would say NA4 versus Liquid is tough to call. I guess we'll have to wait and see who NA4 ends up being.
I think I think that's the
Could
thing
be
because
anyone, really.
like I think any NA thing is hard to call because you don't know like who it's going to be because FaZe could literally end up 50.
It could be 10 teams, yeah.
It could literally be
Yeah,
anyone.
it could be anyone. Yeah.
So
It's
it's
actually so
I think it's
cool.
kind of impossible to call. It's going to be actually so entertaining to watch
Could be
this
NRG.
this
Oh,
regional.
I can't wait.
It could be an RG.
It could be NRG,
Love Rizzo.
unironically.
I hope
Could
it's
be.
an RG.
Could be.
Speaking of
Let's talk about
NRG
some friendships.
Oh, Rizzo, this is your favorite topic.
Let's talk about friendships.
So,
bro, like-
Rizzo, do you want to intro this and explain how did it
Sure.
come up
Yeah,
again?
are we segue? Okay, I thought Rise was gonna
Yeah.
segue, but I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, you intro. Explain
Finley
to
had
the
such a
viewers,
good
and then
segue. I can't believe
I
you
think-
robbed him of that.
No,
I'm
it's
not
because
gonna
I think
lie.
Rise is just gonna go dive straight into the deep end, but we need to like get a Rizzo
That's
intro.
true,
He's
that's
like,
true.
I'm not.
like,
Rise goes
intros.
I'm not a fan of this paddle test the waters. You go straight in.
No,
Okay,
we're
let
not
me-
tout to test the waters. We're just gonna try and
Explain
get
it. Trying to
everybody.
lay it
Yeah,
out
everybody,
there.
Get them all
everybody on the
hooked,
same
you know?
page. Everybody on the same
Everybody
page.
hooked.
And
Alright,
then we
sure,
done.
sure.
So we talked
Let's
about
get it
like the
done.
max exodus from OCE, but let's talk about the exact opposite. NA apparently, allegedly, according to Rise, is not getting rid of any of their players. And he made a tweet that says, honestly, it feels like NA is the same 20 recycled average players, always end up teaming and making up the numbers in regionals, whereas in Europe, any team can make a deep run. I have no idea why that is. I think the NA mentality seriously needs to change.
And also a reply to
Tell him
AJ.
again.
AJ tweeted, "Who's the NA Hogan mode?" And Rise, you said there isn't one. Our regions are not the
Yeah,
same.
we are
I
not the
believe.
same. We are not the same.
So
now,
what's going
can
on,
I just
Rise?
say? Can I just preface my next point by? I said that, and then I had several NA pros agreeing with me. So
Yeah.
this isn't some insane take from me, some like dumb, I hate NA rubbish. Okay, this is a well-founded, something that's been in my head for a while. I feel like EU. Someone actually replied. I should credit the person, but I don't know exactly who it was, and said that in this regional, I think it was the top 8 or maybe the top 6. I'm not sure. The out of the players in the top 8, that only 2 were in RLCSX from Europe, and something like 17
Yeah, I actually found
were
it.
from NA.
Whoa,
This comes
that's
from
insane.
Pelican 2.
That's actually a crazy
And
Shout
yeah.
out to
That's a
Pelican
crazy
2.
stat.
2
Whoa.
players had played in RLCS before RLCSX in Europe, and in NA, the number was 17.
Oh
Out of
my
how
God,
many
that's a
people?
crazy
Like,
stat.
That's
what?
actually definitive
whole regional?
stats there. Thank you for Penguin. Was it Penguin?
Pelican.
Can you link that in the
I
chat?
didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was that much, but yeah, now you think
Yeah,
about it, of
Penguin.
course, yeah. All those players have just been at the top for NA for ages.
Okay, so
That's
this
crazy.
we can probably
I'm following
dive
Pelican
into
too.
it.
What a legendary point.
We can probably dive into like this part a bit later, but it got the bubble scene kind of up in arms as well, because you were talking about like recycled players, and a bunch of bubble players quote tweeted that one, and they're talking about that one specifically, saying like NA never gives us a shot. They just keep grabbing their friends, and that's how the whole friendship league kind of started to happen, I guess. I think personally the friendship league is a bit overblown. It does for sure happen, but I do think it is a common thing in any industry, really, that like if you are going, if you're going to have somebody with the same exact skill set, but one of them is your friend, you're probably going to pick your friend if they're, exactly the same. And a lot of the situations, I would say like with bubble players, that's kind of the situation. Is it it's a guy that's the same skill set, but like this one's your friend, so you're probably going to pick your friend.
I mean, that's the thing though. I don't know if it's the way I see the game, but I think there's no 2 players anywhere in any region in any situation that have the same skill set. I think it's pretty much impossible.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying like legitimately they are 100% the same player, but
just like if they're comparable, like
yeah.
skill. If like everybody in the pro scene has got like their own, whether it's thought through like very exactly or just whether it's vague. They've got like a tier list of everybody in their head. They're thinking this guy's really good, this guy's kind of okay, mid potential, but to be better. This guy's terrible, will never be good. They've got all the players in their head around them. So if you've got 2 players, you think these guys are both sick. One of them is a really close friend of yours. Yeah, it would make sense to pick that guy up. So it's not like teaming with your friends is necessarily a bad thing. I want to propose maybe that the NA teams just haven't been as savage with benching people perhaps over the years. Like I think you can just get away with having a bad split in NA a lot more than in EU, where if you have a bad split, okay, now you're just on now the clock's ticking. It's just like a matter of time before your contract runs up and you're gone. Like there's no more extensions if you like mess up.
Maybe I'm dumb in the way I think, or like maybe I'm like I think differently to like the majority, but I feel like and Joyo will vouch for this because we had a similar situation. When it's between 2 similarly skilled players and one's my friend and one isn't, I always lean towards the person who isn't my friend. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's just the way my mind works, but so for example, when Vatira left before the season, and it was pretty last minute, like I flew back from my holiday early to try out with Astral, because if not he would have gone with Vitality, etc. It was between Astral and Archie for us, and like I don't know, it's something that in my head I don't think all UK teams ever really work, because I think that the people, like the 3 UK people, tend to be friends, and then it always flops. Like full UK teams just flop always. And so I always have that mentality that if someone's my friend and someone isn't, I will normally lean towards the person who isn't.
See, I've always been an advocate for, sticking together, working out problems, and, making sure it's all about team camaraderie, chemistry.
Wait,
and stuff.
pause. Rise, did you understand what he just said? Did that make sense to you? Sticking it out, playing together. Is that like? Was that above like what you could understand the comprehension there?
That's a funny one, Rizzo. That's a funny one.
I'm
Well,
just,
let me
no, I'm
just
just
stay on
making
this
sure.
for a
I'm
second.
just
Let
making
me-
sure.
Yeah.
I know that
Go
this
on,
is
CJ.
right. Yeah, it's not in his vocabulary.
No,
I
People
don't
in
think
chat
it's
also
right.
t- people in
yeah.
chat
Well, if you
also
missed
were
this
talking about the
lesson in
fact that you
class-
joined Oxygen straight away after a split.
Well, yeah, but that's
But-
not two friends,
Yeah.
is it, mate?
yeah.
But let me keep on this track, right? So I was always, all about that. Let's see, work out problems, sit together. And EU for the most part.
Wait, no,
look
CJ,
at
I'm not
Rise.
letting that slide real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Rizzo, who do you think you're talking to right now?
What is it? What do you have to say?
Yeah, team hopping this, team hopping that. How many lands you won, bro?
How many lands I won? I've won one. I've won a land. Okay.
Was that in your? Was that against your dad? Was that against Rizzo's dad?
Oh
RL?
no! Don't let him brag.
No.
This is a
No,
wrong
it wasn't.
question,
It was
Rise.
actually against the GOAT, the 4-time. Okay,
You didn't
buddy.
play me on LAN.
Yeah,
I'm
this is,
joking.
you get between your plays. Rise, stop there. Stop right there.
Don't-
Let
You
him
picked
time
like
was
of all the
this,
ways
bro?
you could have roasted Rizzo. You picked probably the absolute worst
the wrong way.
element of his career. The
Was this
one
an
time
RLCS
where he
LAN?
beat.
was
Yeah, it
E-League.
was E-League right after
now
LCS.
he's
Oh, is that the
cherry
one you
picking.
had on your wall, bro? Is that the one you had on your wall?
What
No,
do you
that's
mean?
Squidward.
That's
Anyway,
Squidward.
look, Look, as I was saying, golly, Rise,
Nah,
you're
bro, I'm
terrible.
not
Look,
having it, no.
I was
I'm
always
not
about
having this,
sticking
CJ.
together. That's why, Rizzo loves NRG as well. We love seeing our old boys, the people that are around. They're always going back.
Little
They're always
boys, look.
trying so hard. You want to see them fall to the bottom and climb back up. But Europe, you look at Rise, they for the most part, it's been a bit of a washing machine. And I'm not saying recycled. I'm saying just people just getting thrown in there, from everywhere. It's one bad split, as Johnny said, and it's make a roster move, bring up a new guy, whatever. And it almost has gone, they've done it so much, right, that it is built players like Rise who are so adaptable and they're not stuck in the one ways of being on a certain team. They know what the structure's like. They know what practice is like, things like that. But when you've played with so many different players, it makes you become such a better player because you can pick up and adapt with different players and you're not getting comfortable at any stage. You're always fighting for your spot. You're always on the grind. And I think that's why Europe is so good because everyone has played with so many different teams. They know what works, they know what doesn't work, and they know how to be the best teammate they can be. They can be, as I said, adaptable to whoever's coming in, whoever's going out. Language barriers, things like that. They just know how to work as a team, regardless of who they're playing with. Whereas I feel like in NA, there's so many players that have played with the same 2, 3, 4, 5 people that they only have a certain way to practice, they have a certain way to comm, they have a certain way to position that everyone knows what they're doing. And they're so hard stuck in their ways because there's such a habit at this point that they can't get out of it. And that's, I think, why NA's become very stale, whereas EU's always on the move. It's this is new. They got this new kid coming in, all the people there are adapting to how he's playing.
I mean, I just don't think NA people take risks. They
They're
just
just
settle.
happy to paycheck still.
So let me. All right, go on, Joe. Please go on.
Okay, I don't think it's paycheck stealing. Maybe there is some cases of it, and there's probably some cases that aren't. But I just think NA players aren't willing to take risks, and I think when it's blatant, it does happen. Because as much as a lot of people just stick together, when there was a player with undeniable talent, which was Daniel, he got picked up straight away. But obviously, anyone would pick up Daniel. But NA players do seem to take less risks, and
well, actually, First Killer's an interesting example of that. He didn't get immediately onto the absolute best team when he was 15, did he? He teamed initially with Kronovi and Turinturo, then they benched Kronovi for Taroko.
AJ, was it?
And
or was that wrong?
And I think after that he left to join AJ and Illusion.
Yeah, he joined AJ on Phase.
Yeah,
he wasn't on
AJ
Rogue.
was on Rogue.
I don't know if First Killer was at he was clearly good, but I don't know if he was at the level of this guy. I don't think it was apparently
I would argue he was
obvious.
the best. I think he was top 2. I thought immediately obviously
top
this guy's
2
gonna be
player.
great. Yeah, well, him and Justin.
If anyone's going to know about this, it's Rizzo. No, Rizzo was still playing at this time, so he could probably tell us something about First Killer coming into the scene.
So are you saying Rizzo before he was 15? You didn't think, okay, that guy's obviously he's got potential.
Well, I just think that's why he went.
Yeah.
He went to Rogue.
Yeah,
Rogue wasn't weren't the worst, but they weren't the greatest, you know. But like that's why he went there, was because like he also.
That was kind of my point though. That none of the other teams like who were 1, 2, 3 at the time, or maybe 4. I think there was a pretty clear.
Yeah,
like,
there is like
5.
a clear. Yeah,
None
there's
of
no
them were
reason
like,
for them to
we
switch.
need this guy because he's the future. Like obviously they were doing well at the time.
Yeah.
But if anyone had the foresight to be like, that is the what now is like what Vitality did with Zen. They're like, this kid's the future. We're gonna sign him when he's banned. Like if any of the teams in NA were looking at First Killer the way that Vitality looked at Zen, they would have signed him immediately.
I think also it might be a bit more like obvious nowadays when you do see a player like that, and it's a bit more apparent. Like it's a bit more I don't want to say obvious again, but like to take the risk on a player like that, because every time a player like that does show up, they do get signed. Like First Killer was like the exception, and then you had Justin, who was like absolutely melting RLRS, and Energy grabbed him. Then you have like Daniel, who's like
RLRS
clearly
is
above.
Convincing though. Like RLRS was made to like be kind of a feeder league, and it did that for some players, so that makes sense. But First Killer couldn't play because he was too young. And the only things he really made a name for himself doing was 1v1. And I'm pretty sure back then NA did not care about 1v1 at all. They were like, yeah, so he's good at 1v1, but that's not going to make him good at threes. Whereas now, if somebody's like just the best 1v1 player, every threes team will be like, yeah, we should probably like take a look at him, maybe give him a scrim, or maybe give him a tryout because he's the best ones player.
I think we're
thought that.
You go
imagine a player like, for example, this is something that I'd think of like. Imagine a player like Seiko was in NA, and Seiko got given a chance by Endpoint when he was he was rank A, he was high in 2s.
And he's doing good at bubble tournaments, but nothing crazy.
He was doing good at bubble tournaments, and like obviously comparing Seiko even then, because I mean, me and Finley were also like bubble players in that sort of time. Me and Finley knew Seiko would be really good. Same with how we were with Atira. We didn't know exactly how good it would be. I mean, but still, if someone like Seiko was in NA with no one willing to give him a chance, I imagine. I mean, Seiko probably would have got a chance eventually because of how good he was. But the fact that he got endpoint straight away, and then he had one of the best rookie performances in his first split ever, and then also won Worlds in that season. Well, you did beat him at LAN, and then he also won Worlds. So
okay, sorry.
Yeah, like. Obviously, it's not the same. Like, it's not the exact same because someone of the talent of Seiko would eventually get picked up, but
yeah, I
he
think
still was just in 2s in the bubble.
Seiko's an interesting one. To put Seiko in perspective, before he joined Endpoint the previous season or RLCS Season X had quite a few like good performances, decent performances. They were like in and out of the top 6. Towards the end of the season, they fell off a bit, but I believe it was Relating Wave, Metza, and Virtuoso, right? In RLCS Season X.
Yeah.
They finished off 10th in points, but they were a lot ahead of 11th. It was actually like pretty close pack. The chasing pack for that like top 6 in EU is pretty close. So they were like kind of in the 6th to 10th all season. That's like the equivalent of version 1 in Season X for NA, who, correct me if I'm wrong, was Torment, Gimmick, and who was their third? I totally forgot who the third was. AXB, wasn't it? Yeah, so imagine at the end of that split, or the end of that season, wait, was it still Gimmick? Did he play for V1? I'm totally blanking on that. But yeah, imagine
he did
V1
for a short period.
pick up. Yeah, so like instead of picking up like a proven player, they went for Beast Mode, who actually was a great choice. Good job, V1.
Oh, true. That's actually a good point.
But he had actually already done really well on Shopify in RLCS Season X, so it wasn't like oh wow, where did they get this guy from? But can you imagine V1 at that time, like veterans like Gimmick and Torment picking up like a complete like rookie who's never played RLCS before? Probably not, but they did. They like Torment.
I mean, they got Com, no? I saw they got Com, which is basically the same thing, no?
Was it Torment, Gimmick, Com?
That was no Gimmick.
That was after AXB.
Oh,
that was after.
I'm confused now.
I'm trying to remember. It's so annoying that Wikipedia like doesn't immediately like if I click the RLCS Season X like endpoint, it takes me to current endpoint. I'm like, oh, what year would I need to go to? So Wikipedia, if you're listening.
Something I found very interesting, which is like a similar thing. It kind of loops back into what I was saying about Mina kind of being like a 2-team fighting for one spot. I think that, and now we're going on about like these young players getting picked up. There's Nwippo, and it feels to me like whoever out of Falcons and Rule 1 gets Nwippo becomes like the undisputed
That guy is different
Best.
gravy, man.
He's
becomes the undisputed best.
He's a Zen
Mina
level
team.
talent, I reckon. He's so insane.
He is the
He's
Zen of
crazy.
Mina. I don't know if he's Zen level talent.
So-
I don't think he's as good as Zen, but yeah,
But he's the
No,
Zen
he'll
of
be
don't
like
think
the
he's
best
as good.
player in
I don't think
Mina.
he's as good as Zen either, but I think he's like easily at the level Zen was before he became unbanned. Like
They are comparable.
At this
They
kind
are
of like
comparable.
Yeah, no, they're
this kind of
the same
time
thing. Like
frame,
they're gonna
he's on
come
the
in and
same
change the region.
trajectory.
Yeah.
Same trajectory as Zen, and he did actually play a split, like last split last season when he shouldn't have been playing. He did play because
What was
Psionics hadn't
Cola?
caught
Was
him
he
for
on
his ban
Cola?
yet. Yeah, he played in Cola, who were like
They beat
let's say,
Falcons, right? They were like the only team that beat Falcons at some
They
point.
didn't beat them in a they beat them 2 times in
In a
series. Couldn't
series,
beat them in
yeah.
an event, but they did take 2 series off them, and yeah, it was pretty much just this dude 1v3ing. Like no disrespect to his teammates who
Bro.
have actually improved as well, but he was insane. He was the best player in the region with alongside TRK in his like rookie split last season.
I'm actually
Work was a great
glad.
player.
I'm really glad you bring him up because he's like this undisputed talent, and also we've had good examples of that beforehand. But I think this is the biggest thing in NA, and like when the BOA players are tweeting and stuff, they're like, we're not getting chances, yada yada, all that stuff. There is no player like that in NA right now. That's like this clear,
Two-piece?
obvious. 2Piece has had opportunities though. Like
Yeah.
2Piece has had opportunities to go to new. Like he's had offers before.
The thing is, he's turned them down though.
But
Which is what I don't understand.
But is that on the team? What's the argument? Is it 2Piece for sticking with his friends, or is it?
I don't know.
The
But if
org,
that's
or not the
EU,
org, the team
so-
not wanting to take a risk.
I think 2Piece has like because when I got rank S in 6-mans, when 6-mans was still like a very big thing in the community, I got it from playing NA. Like I was playing NA 6-mans to get rank S because like the threshold for rank S is lower in NA, and so I'd queue with like Daniel. Like I'd message Daniel and be like, let's queue, or like Soso'd message me and Daniel. And I remember I played with 2Piece in rank X, and this guy was just different. Like he was so good. And it feels like, how long's he been on Shopify? Like a year and a bit? I feel like at that type of age, at least in my head, when you're kind of 15, 16, like coming up, if you stay on a, I don't want to say like,
You'll
like-
kill your career. I'm with you.
you'll stagnate. Like you'll completely stagnate. Like you have to understand that,
Be mobile.
It's Damian Lillard.
yeah,
Sorry, NBA reference.
yeah, you've got like if you stay on a, I don't want to say bad team because they're not bad. I think Memory and
A
Path are
team
good
where
players.
a team
but
where you
players
look
that
like
aren't,
stand out, like you look like that
yeah,
guy.
then you're just not gonna develop as you should.
Maybe he's just copying what his elders have done, what the NRGs.
Yeah,
It's about the
maybe.
friendships. You got to copy the friendships. the loyalty. So,
Well, okay, so I think also that's not necessarily that is another thing, but I think in NA, if you're like a top team and you struggle as a top team, you can kind of just like stick it out. It depends where you were, but you can still get top 8s, top 10s, stuff like that, and you can still make like the main RLCS. Whereas like if you struggle as a top team in Europe, you could easily just not make the next regional and like lose out in closed quals. But closed quals in NA does not have the talent pool to actually like disrupt these top rosters. So it also doesn't give them a reason to want to take any sort of like risk. If there's 8 solidified teams, and it's slowly shifting, right? Over time, there's more and more good teams. You can see it. There's 10 teams that are able to qualify in this upcoming regional. But like, if they're solidified and they're still like, yeah, we could still win regionals and stuff like that, and there's no like up and coming players that are incredibly talented, that it's so obvious, why would we like want to make a change? Whereas in EU, it's like, oh, if we don't, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, I think this is an issue that's been in NA for seasons. Now that I like think about the type of, because I was thinking about it, if NA was EU, like if it was the other way around, where NA got all these like young players, these like up and coming players, and brought them straight into the top, I think Percy would have been on a top team for a long time now.
Percy was really,
I think 2Piece would have been on a top team by now, and he would have been like nurtured and like.
I think Hoxer would have got one earlier.
Hoxer 4 seasons ago would have.
Hoxer
After season 8 Worlds in Madrid, this guy would have gone from, it was Birds and Bees or E United, no?
Something like that, yeah.
E United, I'm pretty sure. He would have joined a top team, and he was supposed to go to Cloud9, I'm pretty sure, but I forgot what happened with that.
Yeah.
Like if it was the other way around, this would have happened ages ago. EU would have had these players like at the top now, and these players would now be bringing up better players, like younger players that are now coming up. Like these players would be the ones nurturing, but it feels like the same just like I said in the tweet, it's like the same 20 stale players take up the numbers in the regional for the players that have been at the top for 2-3 years now with the RCSX tweet to just beat for the 50th time in a row. Like, if you know what I mean. So I just feel like it's completely stagnated as a region.
Here's a breakdown that's similar to that tweet. I've totally forgotten the name. I think somebody's did Rizzo, did you, or CJ? You put it in this chat somewhere. It was a really cool tweet about the only 2 players from the top EU teams currently played RLCS Season X at the top level. But it's not even just the teams. It's like even the rosters are, a lot of them are, similar. Like NRG are obviously the same. G2 were a top 6 team in RLCS Season X. JNAP Chicago are still together. Space Station was a totally different roster back then. That was typical Retals Arsenal, but they're all still as players in the top teams at the moment. Missed Atomic and Turbo as a team. Turbo's retired, but the other 2 are still in the top 6, like actual non-import NA teams. FaZe back then was AJ's team, AJ, Illusion, Gyro, and Shopify were also a team back then. So it's actually even the orgs, Shopify, FaZe, G2, Space Station, and NRG. 5 of the top 7 in RLCS Season X are actually now 5 of the top 7 non-import teams this split, which is crazy. Like, it's just not changing as much. There's nowhere near as much, I guess, competition, like Rizzo said, to force these teams to change. It's
you can't. I think it's also like. I think that's valid. Like what Rizzo's saying is like pretty valid. Like the same, the players are getting a bit comfortable, but at the same time, you have to kind of be given a reason. And if the NA bubble is not challenging these teams whatsoever, and like they come into close quals and they just get slapped 0-3 and then 0-3 again, and then they're just out 0-6. It's just like, you have to create some sort of fear from the teams to want to make a change.
So with that in mind, then
that's a good point,
the question I would ask Horizon Joyo, because you actually came up on a team with, and like obviously Vatira, at the time you're all relative rookies. You had like a little bit of experience here and there. Joyo at the very end of RLC Season X, Rise.
I had one regional where I got slapped, but
you had one regional. So Vatira was complete rookie in 2021. Rise had played. Did you play the whole of RLC Season X? I think you did, right?
Majority of it, right?
No, I think I played 2 splits. If I'm not wrong. 2 splits,
and Joyo played one.
Maybe I played the whole season.
Split,
I'm not sure.
One regional. It was barely a split. It was a regional. We got destroyed.
Yeah, and all that to say, you guys were very new, but you didn't, need a top team to pick you up to dominate. You didn't need a top team to recognize your talent in the bubble, take you onto a good team. So what do you think?
There's a funny story about that.
The thing is,
because after split 1, where we kind of did mediocre, that I think it was definitely Vatira and his kind of like friend group were telling him that he should go to Guild. At the time, which was Devo and Nolly, and it was something that he was seriously considering. And like the thing that he was saying, at least to us, was that getting that like experience from like an older player like Devo, who's like a world champion and done stuff in the past, would be beneficial to his career. And we were like, the way at least I saw it was, you skip a step because realistically these old players that aren't really like new anymore, like they've been in the scene for a while, they eventually just get like kicked and they eventually just get replaced for someone new. And I felt like we were, as Magnolia and Team Queso, it was like we were skipping that kind of like step and we were just learning all together as a new like trio. And I don't think any NA trio would do that really.
But there are like some trios in NA that are the new-ish players teaming together. But a lot of the tweets that those players were putting out in response to this whole discussion last weekend, where we don't get given scrims by top teams and we don't have any practice against the top teams until we play them in the tournament. We get destroyed because we're not used to playing against them. So like Joyo, how do you think you guys were able to do that? Did you get scrims against top teams before you actually had any results through somebody's friend who was in a better team?
We'd have like here and there, like if a team either got cancelled on or like we wouldn't have like recurrings. A lot of scrim schedules, at least in EU, is you set a date to scrim a team and you do that date and time every week, like over and over, and it's a reoccurring. I don't think we had many of those with like top teams. We maybe have a one-off scrim, but we weren't like on everyone's schedule at the start. I mean, a lot of teams either blacklisted us or didn't want to scrim us that much because they didn't think we could recreate our playstyle in RCS.
Classic.
The
Yeah.
classic,
And
yeah.
I think that's something that was sort of similar. I don't know to the extreme it is in NA, but we didn't get insane scrims at the very start, and even like partway through split one, it wasn't amazing. We still got some, I think. I'm not sure if I'm wrong about that, but we didn't get amazing scrims for a bit. But when we did do well and like proved ourselves, and when we were like a proper team, we pretty quickly. But it's also because we quickly did good. But we pretty
Yeah.
quickly got on everyone's schedule, and
But yeah, that would happen in NA, I'm sure. If a team like came in and did really well, everybody would like be like, "Yeah, we'll scrim
yeah,
you." I don't think there is like
Actually,
this
we didn't get
rumored
loads
big
of
boys
scrim.
club. But okay,
Yeah.
what do you think is the difference then? Because I think, you know, the bubble players in NA demanding, like they're saying that they deserve scrims with no results to prove it is a little bit entitled. Like, why should the good teams play you? They're there to practice for themselves. They don't care about you, really. Obviously, they want their region to be good, but that's secondary objective. They want to win, and you're not helping them win if you're not good. Practice for them. So, like, how do you get good without the scrims against the big teams? What do you think
I
is the
mean,
way that you guys did it?
between like the difference between being good enough and not good enough isn't going to be scrimming to like different. If you're good enough, then you'll just be good enough, in my opinion. I think it can be beneficial to scrim top teams, and it will help the progression. But at some points of it, like for example, mine and Finley's team, we just were confident that we were good enough, and we were good enough, and we put like a lot of effort in, and it came to us. I'm not saying like no one scrim does. It wasn't like that. There was a lot of teams that didn't want to, and there was teams that just didn't at all. Um, but also like it wasn't like the reason why we did good was those scrims like, against like a one-off scrim against like a top 4 team or a top 6 team.
Yeah.
That's not the difference maker between a bad and a good team. You still just have to be good enough.
Yeah.
So do you think it's mindset diff then? Because I
I
mean,
think so.
Our
NA
mindset played a
players,
part into it. We had a very good mindset. Like when we came up, I felt like when we went into every series, everyone actually thought like we can easily win this, even when it was the most unlikely thing on paper. Like I always felt like there was a sort of an energy that we were gonna win. Like you can just go into a series and sometimes you just have a feeling like, oh, we're winning this one. And like
I
for
mean, yeah.
example, our first win when we played BDS and Uppers to make the final, we like 4-0'd them, and like going into the series, it just felt like a win. Like we were also confident and had like a really strong mental.
I think we played a thing called Mediterranean Esports, a tournament like pre-season, with against like champion, because it was RCSX championships because it wasn't Worlds because of COVID, and we played Old Queso,
Atomic, Demensa,
yeah, the ones that got top 4, I'm pretty sure, at the championships in EU. We played like
Rick's
teams
GG,
that were like
GG
pro,
well.
like kind of like pro, but kind of not like the top teams. Like it wasn't BDS, it wasn't Vitality. It was like the gatekeep type teams, and we destroyed them.
Vitality in Okatani Esports.
We did. But I remember saying that was after. But the Mediterranean was like the first thing we ever played as a team. We'd never scrimmed before that. And I think the first day was qualifiers, and it was just against Turkish teams. I think we played like 3 full Turkish teams, and then we got to the main event, and it was these good teams, and it was a decent prize pool, and we just destroyed them. And I remember messaging Joyo afterwards, and because it was kind of like me and Joyo looking at people before this, and I was like, but I just feel like we're gonna win a regional with Vatira. Like I just feel like we're gonna win stuff.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure you tweeted it at one point, but
yeah,
I
tweeted it because we were both like saying pretty much why there's no reason for us not to be the best in this region. Like,
yeah,
was pretty much
like you just kind of know
opinion.
sometimes.
Do you think that
intuition?
Do you think it might? Is it mindset, or does it also play a little bit of part in terms of like the a play style thing? And I'm just talking about RLCS, like I'm talking about ranked. Because for me, as someone on the sidelines scrimming or boot camping a lot in both regions, like EU's always just been that like ball chasey, always on the ball. And we're talking about what Zen's doing as a player on the come up. In terms of like doing the little things, doing the 1%ers, the bumps, the half rotations, like the K Corp challenges, low boost, always staying around. Whereas NA is just like been for the longest time the the solo play, sit back and let's have a freestyle show. It's actually I remember sitting back at boot camps and this is 2019. And I'm playing like twos, and I'm like, here I am, I'm open, and I was almost laughing playing NA ranked at how just everyone wants to air dribble like every single ball, and obviously it's changed a little bit now, but everyone has played so slow in NA. Everyone sits back. There's just no on ball pressure. There's no cutting for each other. It's just like grab 100 boost, and let's see who can have mech. And I don't know if like the up and coming players have like there's a reason why there's been a stagnant sort of lot of talent coming through NA. Might be because of that. Whereas the EU, I feel like, people, you're talking about like Demensa and stuff. Like some of those players were just like the fastest, always on the ball, like ball chasey players that have learnt to be able to back off as well. Whereas I don't know if like NA has been taught just, it's more about if you can chain dash or if you can, go for an air dribble flip reset rather than like doing the little things. You know what I mean? That like
That's what Chicago
work
tweeted
in-
actually. Chicago tweeted that the death of NA, or I can't remember the exact wording, was something like
Was
the death of
ranked,
NA was
yeah.
the air dribble flip reset becoming like a thing. As soon as flip resets are discovered, it's all NA wanted, all NA ranked players wanted to do. It's air dribble flip reset.
I
Never
think-
actually like pass to the open player.
I remember like
or
2019, I was
dribble and
boot
grind.
camping. I was boot camping in London or something. Maybe it was 2019. It might have been 2018 or even. I remember I was playing like twos with Scrub, and I was just thinking, oh my god, like this is like you're playing almost the like little 1v1s where you always have a teammate in behind, like you're always next to each other, and then just the massive contrast in going to America like NA and scrimming, and it's just let your teammate cook, see what he does, and then I'll just sit back and I'll go for the
Just
next
take
one. You know what I
turns.
mean?
You just take turns.
Take turns.
I think
just
it can come
1v2
down
-ing.
to the goats of the regions. Like now that
I
you think,
believe
now that you
so.
mention
I
it,
believe so.
if you think about the goats of EU, you've got K-Dop. Never been like a mechanical beast. Always just been super consistent. Put your shots in the top corner with power, and it'll go in. And you look at
Efficient
NA's
rock.
goats,
Efficient
yeah,
rock.
literally just efficiently
I
efficient,
think-
insane
can I-
players.
can I-
And then NA, you've got Squishy Muffins, Freestyler, Justin, always going for cool clips. So yeah, I think you've got a point.
Can I like, and not to like go one up you, but I think to go back even further, like the original GOAT of NA was Kornovi, who was known
Yeah.
for his everything has to be flashy, everything
Well,
has
what
to be
about
aerial
Coxer
based.
though? Coxer
Well,
was the
yeah,
same.
Cuxer was very like that as well. But you think about who did players like K-Dop learn from by losing over and over again? He was just getting beaten by like Marky Duda, who has zero mechanics, and Mike Rules, who had like he didn't want a half flip because he's like, this is
True,
boring.
true.
Like the players who became the goats of EU got farmed by the EU like players like Mike and Marky, who just had no mechanics, didn't want to do mechanics. And yeah, Cuxer had mechanics, but he was like very much the anomaly in EU. No one played like him. Like all the start vets in EU, people like Pashi's, any team Pashi's on, was a very simple, like ball chasey kind of play. Like everybody in attack, everybody close, and then NA was a lot more like Chrono. Everybody wanted to be Chronovi. So,
I think-
I just think EU is so much more of an efficient region. I don't know, like the way people play is like, so much more like if you take like 50 ranked games of NA pros compared to EU or like NA Sam pros and then EU Mina pros, and the level of edge roll bumps, kickoff strats, like just everything, like life on the line, like, trying to just
Spanish
win
kickoffs.
under any
Life
cost.
on the line. I
Yeah.
must get the
Under-
MMR.
Yeah, under any cost you have to win. Like EU players have always been efficient. I mean, Turbo's from EU, and he's the GOAT of Rocket League, most world champion wins. And this guy literally had a flick named after him where he just like mess up the flick pretty much and like do low 50s and all this stuff. And then you've got NA, and they're all known for being just like mechanical, like great players. And the reason I mean, Turbo won more, and he could barely flick the ball sometimes.
I think it's a mentality thing as well. But I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I was really interested to see one comment in social media saying that it even relates to NA popular sports. Like
It was
in the
Nolly
NFL.
that said this, I think.
Was it Nolly said it? Yeah, NFL. You
so.
get the quarterback who's like trying to get a really really good throw, and he goes maybe like somebody else can make a highlight play. There's obviously like highlight players in like football or soccer, which is like the main sport in Europe. But it's still, everybody knows that if a team's going to win, it's because they've got a better strategy, system, formation. They're all in the same game plan. It's about that. And then lesser effect, even the superstars are like a smaller part of it. Like even your Messis and your Ronaldos. It's not about them, it's about the team. But yeah, in NBA and NFL, baseball, it's all about the individual. It's like, who's the MVP? Who carried? Who 1v5'd? Like, I think it goes to even a cultural thing. Everybody wants to be this, not just the winning team. Everybody wants to be the best player on the winning team, which obviously is the case in EU as well to a lesser extent. But over the years, I've noticed in NA, a lot of the players want to be the guy. They don't want a team of players who'll be better than them sometimes. You're like, that. I want to be the best. I want everybody to think I'm the best. And hey, if we lose, at least people still think I'm the best on my team. Like, that shouldn't really be a thought if you're a pro player.
I don't think it's one specific thing like we're talking about. Like, what was a player that everyone's like, was it squishy? Was it, as you said, the MVPs, the individuality sort of thing, the me. I think it certainly is a combination of a lot of factors in it. And like, honestly, yeah, it's not just, NA wants to be freestyle. You know what I mean? It's not just like one thing. I just think it might have been a combination of heaps of different things that's led to it. But there is definitely a difference, like has been for a long time in ranked. And you guys are right. Like in EU, it is just so sweaty. Whereas I feel like almost in NA, when people do that, like, the good players, if you're like, what are you doing? Like, get off the ball. You've got no boost. Like, you're cringe. Give me space. And then these people are like, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that because, the top players are saying this is cringe and, you're not a good player. So then they're like, okay, maybe I should go back and get 100 boosts from my corner and then defend this air dribble. Whereas EU is just like, it could just be the language barrier that there's less of communication between the top players and stuff that they don't care. They're like, well, I'm winning. I'm doing a Spanish kickoff. I don't care if it's sweaty
winning.
Because I'm winning.
If you're getting beaten by something, you're going to copy it. And like the teams who were winning for the longest time in NA played like what we're describing. So if it's working for them, everybody wants to do it because it wins. So
I mean, even when you listen to like what people say about scrims and stuff, it kind of like all falls into place in my head. Like I know in RLCS X, when SSG were by far the best team, they scrimmed what? How many teams, Rizzo? You know this.
Oh wait, sorry, what'd you ask?
How many teams did SSG scrim when they were the best team in RLCS X? I saw they scrimmed like 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, probably like 4 or 5.
Like that's unheard of. Imagine KC only scrimmed us, Liquid, Moist, and all those top teams did that. We just get overtaken so quickly. When you hear about squishy rules being like an actually common thing, like this guy would actually get tilted if he got demoed in a scrim. Like that's unfathomable anywhere
else. But that
else.
comes from their ranked culture as well. You know what I mean? Like
laughable to me.
That's a joke to me. Like
I love memeing on it, but like if we're serious for a second, that is embarrassing. It's actually kind of embarrassing to get tilted as a pro player about an in-game mechanic. Like how are you tilted by this? That is literally embarrassing. Like I love the memes about the scrim rules, but it's genuinely I cannot believe that pros are like actually getting tilted by something that's in the game.
The like 3v1, the 3v1 mentality as well, it goes like all the way down to the bubble scene as well. I know we kind of went past the bubble scene a little bit, but I'm sorry if me, Kep, and Turbo are getting top 32 NA, the bubble deserves nothing, bro. I'm sorry, like.
Bro, I mean, when your lower RLCS players like in the CRL are losing to retired EU players that never made it past. They never made it past the bubble. I team with Zedo on Minx. On Minx Gaming, I played Nitro League with this guy.
I played Nitro League with Zedo too, baby.
I played with him and Ghostfire like 2-3 years ago in Nitro League, and this guy retired like maybe a year after, and he's still out here beating NA bubble like RLCS.
No, those are RLCS players. Yes, those are main event players.
They've all made top 8s this season.
German Park the Bus Ball beat NA RLCS.
This is what I'm saying. Like Champ 1s, Diamonds.
They think about the game. They actually think.
That's what I'm saying. The Champ 1s and Diamonds and stuff, if they can go, they hit double flip resets. Like Sunless was tweeting how he's played a random 1v1 with a Champ 1 or something. He like ceiling reset, backboard double or whatever.
That was an SSL. He was just like,
okay, that was an SSL. Never mind. Anyway, but that's what I'm saying. Like these guys, people do not learn the fundamentals. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Rizzo can go and play a closed qual because he knows the fundamentals of Rocket League, like positioning and where to be, when to challenge, when to help out a teammate. Whereas
I can't even aerial straight half the time. My shit's wobbly as hell.
They're thinking of the Twitter clip already. Like
I mean,
He's got
bro,
turbulence.
Sosa's my boy. Like John Luca is my boy, but I don't even hear what was said.
Sorry, I just said Rizzo's aerials have turbulence. Sorry.
They do, bro. They do. They do. They do.
actually do.
That's
They
actually the most facts thing I've ever heard, bro. Man's going through the gusts of wind to get to the wall.
Yes.
That's facts.
Oh my god.
It's like, could you please? The pilot says, "Put your seatbelt on.
Put
We're
your
gonna
seatbelt
take
on."
off."
Oh my
God.
days, that's facts. But like, I was just saying that Sosa's my boy, but I watched a bit of that and it felt like it was Money, Sosa, and who?
Can
Who's the
say.
other one?
Can say.
Kinsey. It felt like they were just lining up to go clip on these guys and try and send it to try and put it on Twitter. Scored this in CRL finals, got champs, and to look like the best team that's possible. I also saw a graph, and I don't know if it's true, that it's like Cyronix has put in like 1.3 million or something
That's
into
true,
CRL.
that's true.
Is that true?
I think there's over
Yeah.
$1 million in the CRL just in prize pool. I don't know about like all
Didn't
the other
John put that on
logistics and
Reddit?
expenditure
Not you, John.
and all the costs of like running the events with like talent costs and studio costs, broadcast
And then
costs.
EU
Like,
was
it's probably
like
way more.
10k. Like they put nothing into EU, and they just farmed NA.
It
Like,
shouldn't have happened. I don't know how that happened. Like I don't watch well I was about to say I don't even need to have watched much CRL to know that this shouldn't happen. Like anyone
Yeah.
could know. You read these names, Sosa can say Money. You're like, why are they losing this? That is ridiculous.
I mean,
Like,
CRL's
any
on the
three-
mainstream, the NA CRL.
And I think like I've seen some people saying that, oh yeah, they didn't scrim enough. That is ridiculous as well. Like any 3 players who can make top 8s in NA should be able to like get into a lobby and destroy like EU CRL teams without any previous practice. Because if you're just good at Rocket League, you'll win. Like it's a skill diff is there. You have to be so tragically bad at like playing for your team to actually lose that series. I
mean,
don't
and,
understand how they lost.
EU scrims look more gritty and try hard than some NA, like actual like proper game series. Like it's on stream and everything. Like, and then you get an EU scrim. Or like I just know them KC Vitality scrims are going down to the wire because they're rival.
Bro,
Like the orgs
you,
are rival.
I mean, I've literally told you because sorry to cut you off, but to add to this
No, that's
point
cool.
quickly, on Tuesday, lol, funny pronunciation because I'm English.
Tuesday, bruv.
we scrim. We have, I'm pretty sure Rule 1 first, and then we've got. Wait, I'm literally checking quickly. Okay, so we scrim. Okay, we scrim PSG first, then we scrim Vitality, and then we scrim Moist. I've said to Joyo several times that we might have to like move our Moist scrim to a different day because after we scrim Vitality, we're like out of energy because we literally put absolutely everything into the Vitality scrim because it's French versus French, and especially my teammates, and then it carries over to me. We want to beat Vitality, and because they're all friends and it's the French community, we want to beat them so bad. So that when we get to the Moist scrim, it's like we're literally so like gassed from the last hour. It's actually insane. Like it's some of the most
EU
sweaty
scrims
gameplay.
Get gritty, bro. They get gritty.
Yeah.
Like, they get so down to the wire. Like everything on the line. Like you just put everything on the pitch. Like there's no, oh, it's just a scrim. It doesn't matter. Like people take it so seriously, especially this split and just this season. Like the scrim seriousness, I guess, has just been slowly creeping up and increasing more and more the more you play. Like you go to scrims now, and like you can tell everyone in the lobby is like as hungry to win as they are against you in RCS. Like everyone's just so hungry right now, and there is like
That's
off
sick.
occasions, but still like. You will get one of those scrims like at least once or twice a week where like it's literally like feels like a RCS series.
Yeah, we had that against Liquid. I literally we were at boot camp and I messaged Oski afterwards and was like, that was actually so much fun because it felt like I was in an RCS series. It was genuinely such good gameplay, and we went to Game 7 overtime in that scrim, and it was literally an RCS series with the map rotation with everything. It was great, and it's so much fun when you do that. When you turn up to
map
scrims and it
rotation,
feels
yeah.
like a chore. When you turn up to scrims and it feels like a chore to be there, and everyone's just like kind of like half-arsing it, like then bro, it's just not as fun. When you know both teams are giving absolutely everything, it actually becomes so much fun to play. And
I think that's the NA
it's
scrim mentality. Is like the half-ass. I get demoed game
Yeah,
1. Oh,
I
I'm
can
already
tell.
tilted. Game 2, you get demoed again. All right, we're gonna call it 40 minutes early. I'm gonna go
they'll
play
never do
rank
this in
2s.
RLCS.
Yeah, they'll never do this. I'm play
Oh
rank
my
2s where I
days.
have more space. I can air dribble, get free boost. It's annoying.
Yeah, it's not like NA players don't like try and scrims. They don't like start own goal in. But I also like. I mean, at least it's just my like imagination in my head. There's no way that the amount of effort to beat the other team, like it genuinely feels like some teams like want to beat you so bad in a scrim. Like in NA, it just feels like something happens and like, oh, whatever, it's a scrim, and like that's not an awful mentality to have, but it just feels like everything's just like, to me in my mind, everyone's like, oh, it's just a scrim, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But in EU, like it's not like people get angry or like take it too seriously. It's just like it's a very professional setting. Like it feels very similar to an RCS series. Like sometimes
I mean, think about
it
who
creates a really good environment for scrim.
whenever you hear about a dominant athlete or dominant team in real sports, like giving an interview of like, why do you think you've had this success, or whenever anyone's talking about why they think that their teammate is so good, it's always about the work ethic they put in training. Why is that player like standing out? You should see how hard he works in training. Why is this team doing so well? You should see how much they're like how much they're practicing. It's always about that. It's never like, oh yeah, they're just so like naturally gifted, they don't even have to try. It like the guys who really like get to the very, very top is because of this. Like there's still like obviously like, you know, famous people who get really far with no effort, but I feel like the goats, like the goats of every sport, are like all like incredible workaholics or like winaholics.
Yeah.
They don't like losing anything. Like they're just like they have to win.
Yeah.
We're just very quickly going to let you guys know, by the way, we're going pretty long with this episode. We're not going to do Patreon questions from the Discord today, but there is one that's been pre-jumped for Joyo, asking, will you rock the Mustang at LAN? This is from Main War, so we'll ask this one. But yeah, we'll be sure to get these guys on again so you guys can all get your questions in another time. Joyo, will we see the Mustang?
I mean, it just really depends on how I feel. I mean, I'm a very like placebo player, but I mean, every regional I've played so far, I mean, maybe minus regional 1, I didn't use it, but I start a series and I feel bad, and then I change to the Mustang. So, like, it really depends on how I'm feeling, and if I start in the Mustang, like, there's a chance I start in it, but I normally use it when I feel bad on everything else.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, when I'm not feeling Octane, Fennec, or like anything, it's normally when I don't feel Octane, I'll just go to a Mustang. Like, it's either I don't like Octane, okay, let's try Fennec or Mustang.
That's interesting. I always feel like whenever I've seen you in the Mustang, I'm like, oh, you must be feeling it today. But I guess I just got the wrong read of it.
It's so, I don't know why, but like when I use the car, like, to be fair, sometimes I am like that. Like I'm like, oh, my mechanics feel so good. Let me get on this car because if it works on this car, it'll be perfect. But the thing is as well, like even though I'm placebo, I know that it's all the same. It is all the same hitbox. I mean, Fennec, Octane, Mustang are all Octane hitbox. It just depends
That's
on what
crazy. It doesn't make
represents it
sense
the
to me that
best.
that's an Octane
Yeah.
at all. I don't get it.
It neither. It just depends on what represents it the best. But when I want to feel like mechanical or like I want to stop feeling, I guess it's to like loosen up. I don't know. Like it's when I want to like feel a bit loose and like mechanical, I always go on the Mustang. If I like feel bad or if I feel like super good, I might go on it too. But it's normally like an extreme. If I feel bad, I go on it. If I feel super good, I go on it. So we'll see, I guess.
Can I just say, I find it disgraceful that these paying fans don't get their questions asked to the guests.
See,
And can I just say,
we have
you
to
should
like
be-
compensate like when we have guests on that will not
Rise,
stop
you've been on
producing
8 million
brilliant
times.
waffles.
No one cares about anything that you have to say.
Look, mate,
We've
look,
asked
mate, look,
you
mate.
everything. All right.
You should be thankful that these patrons are even here right now, because by next week's episode, they'll all be on Nolly's OnlyFans. They'll be spending that money elsewhere. Mate. So you should be very thankful you've even got these patrons right now. So you know what? Send the questions my way to Goldbro, Tyler S. DM me your questions, and I'll answer
You
them.
know what
bro.
else is? We also said we're gonna wrap up this show with NA predictions, but we had you guys on 3 weeks ago where we did NA predictions.
Wait, did we do our top fives already?
Well,
on
have
that show?
our minds
So let's
changed.
get the
Have our
questions
minds-
in. Get the questions in.
Yes.
Have our minds changed? Have
But
the minds changed?
there has not been a regional since, so we just had the same take basically.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
true.
I'll wrap it up real quick. I don't know exactly what I said last time, but for me,
You said,
the
"Oh,
teams
this was so hard. I have no idea."
the teams that made it last time, except Dig Out, what's it called, V1 in and G2 out, and wait, who
I
made
think
it
it's
last time?
SSG.
Was
right?
it Space Station you put in?
Yeah,
I think
Space Station in
SSG.
instead of G2.
Yeah, that's
my
my 5 as well. That's my
that's my
5. Yeah, I
Say
think
them
like
again.
since NA's coming up, he's saying like complexity, Gen G, phase, Space Station V1.
Yeah.
That's like I think that was exactly my 5 as well, and I don't think it's that brave
Yeah.
to take by
And
us.
I said the 5 that are
pick.
going from EU were going to be the 5 that are going from EU as well.
Yeah, no, we
Got
did
that
actually.
right?
We got that right at the start of the split, by the way. I think
Yeah.
we might have talked about that after. You were like, Johnny, tell me the real truths now that we're not online anymore. Who's going? And I said that this was my heart's pick, was the 5 that were going, and I really thought it was a good chance. So I'm delighted.
I've got
Absolutely
Shopify, NRG, G2 Furia, Gen G, all the bottom teams. A little upset.
The
That'd be
5-way
sick.
upset. That's awesome.
Okay, let's get the Patreon questions. Quick time.
It's mad to manage.
Oh,
Well,
they-
actually, we were
I've
gonna
got a
we were gonna
problem.
not do Patreon questions to like give people a chance to go to bed because we've obviously like kept you up late. But if you
Yeah,
want
we
to do
have
them,
no
then
law.
anyone can. If anyone
Get them in
the
right
Patreon
now. Come
listeners,
on. Ah,
get them in the
thank
ask
you.
question chat, and we'll read them
Alright.
out.
Yeah,
as they
well, wait.
come in.
There's
None of
no
them right now.
questions in there just yet, so
No
we'll
questions
grab
in there
one
right
from
now.
chat. Let me just scroll. Have you seen Magic Bear and Scrims?
Okay, don't ask
Classic.
me a question for like a minute because I need to toilet. I mean, no one cares about me.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I'm so sad, guys. No.
We care. Don't
Go
leave.
toilet, you bum.
Okay, I was joking.
No, we don't want to like interrupt good like high quality waffles that are being produced live. You know, this is some very high quality waffle. It wasn't like timed it for no reasons. We're enjoying the conversation rise. So didn't want to interrupt you and say, okay, anyway, answer this question from Patreon. So
These
hopefully our
are
Patreon
paying
listeners,
customers.
yeah,
You
they're
should
paying
hang your head in
customers.
shame for that.
You should see the value that they get these days.
While-
though,
while
Rise.
we're
Like, they have
talking
so
about it as
many
well.
episodes that they
Well,
can now bonus
exactly.
episodes to listen to.
Let
Incredible.
me give you a little
Hours of bonus content.
Today's ad read is sponsored by our own Patreon. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not on the Patreon, what are you doing with your life? We're closing in on 200 patrons as well. You guys are absolute superstars. We have 7 bonus episodes. Episode 7 went live today. We've got many more already pre-jacked, recorded, ready to go as well. We're pumping this bonus content out. And if you don't know what we mean here, we record an extra bonus episode every week. It's random topics. It might be what's going on right now.
A
in the
little
state
bit
of
less
esports.
about current affairs, more broad topics that
Yeah,
hopefully they
it could be
don't like
evergreen,
if
as you
you
like to say.
decide to get the Patreon and you look back at the bonus episodes, you're not gonna be like, well, they're talking about last split. No, we're probably not gonna do that because we don't want the episodes to go out of date. If you decide
And
to get it now, hopefully number 1 will still be relevant.
to
In fact,
also
that one will.
enhance the
I'm back.
scam, I'll be going on vacation for 2 weeks. I'll be gone. So there's going to be
Where are you
no
off to?
live shotcast, and there's only going to be bonus episodes to watch. So if you guys aren't patrons, you might as well go sub, get the bonus episodes, and go check it out while
You've
we're
got
going.
hours of content.
Where are you going, Rizzo?
Hours and hours.
I am going to... Why can I remember? I'm going to South Korea.
Really? That's
Ooh,
sick,
that's
bro.
sick.
I wanna pull up too.
Doxed.
Yeah, come with.
Rizzo, real talk, and this is in front of 1,313 people.
Okay.
Can I come to your wedding? Real talk.
Say it, Rizzo. Say it.
We got the Patreon questions rolling in here.
Yeah,
actually.
let's get the Patreon questions. We're kicking off with Fat Doink. Nice name.
I'm
Big
gate
Fat
crushing,
Doink.
bro.
Will
we
you
had
two
this
ever
one.
team again?
I could see it
We
happening.
got asked this question
I think
last
that-
time,
yeah,
and I
I
said
could see it
no.
happening.
Joyo
You
said
said
no.
no,
You
but
see-
now you've
You
changed.
see, Joyo's my bitch. I'm gonna
Okay,
reverse what
bro.
he says.
Okay, bro.
I'm gonna
Okay,
reverse
bro.
what he says. Joyo's my
Okay.
bitch, so he's gonna upset me when I come back running back to him. That's just the reverse of what he said 2 weeks ago. But
I think Joyo
I'd be
last
down.
time-
I'd be down.
Didn't he say that I'm not letting
Did
him?
we enjoy our time
I'm
together?
not having him back just so he can kick me or something. Like,
Yeah,
No,
no.
yeah,
just
I'll
say
join
if he
back
thinks he's got
just so I
something
can kick
better.
Or
No.
leave.
Yeah, just so I can
Just-
leave when I've got something better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. Is I
See,
don't
that's
wanna be
another
his bitch.
thing. Like, Joyo's one of my best friends in the scene, and I left the team because I didn't think it was like the right
One
suit for
of?
me.
What?
Yeah, one of my best friends in the scene. So,
Definitely not teaming again now. That's disgraceful.
Joyo.
I mean, I could see it. I think in the future, maybe when we're all old and washed up, we might have to bring back the Moist Esports.
See, that's a bad. Like, I want you to pick back up and win world champs,
So-
not just like,
so do
we'll do
I.
a glory run in an Astro 3v3.
I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It's not
Just
impossible.
like go to NA. Just like all of you go to North
Imagine we all just
America.
went to APAC and
Come
then
back
just turned up to the
together.
LAN and farmed everyone.
I mean, okay, like it's not impossible. It's not like we ended on awful terms. We refuse to team with each other again. Like if it aligns and something happens in an off season and we're playing good together and it's just clearly the best option again, like because it is the best option, we just do it. It doesn't really matter about the past because it's about the present. But also, there's also just a chance that never happens. So it literally just depends on the scenario.
I would do it. I would do it. I would definitely like go back because to be honest, like for the way we saw it, I know Joe thinks the same. The reasons Vatira gave us for leaving, not the reasons he said like on stream and stuff, were just screamed like excuse because he wants just a French team and he didn't want to like say I just want a French team, if you know what I mean. Like
so you left on good terms.
Well, no, we didn't leave on good terms, but we've still spoken like since. Like I still speak to Vatira. I've got a streak with this guy on Snapchat. Like we're still boys.
There's no
like,
bad blood between us. Like
yeah, exactly.
right
exactly.
now, like right now, there's literally no bad blood between any of us.
All right, so
And
you're gonna run it
I
back.
think-
We'll lock that in.
Yeah,
We've got another one here, Jackie boy. This is for Joyo. Now we asked this earlier, Joyo, and you were trying to act pretty, confident in this, but this is another way to put it. In terms of Hogan mode on the weekend, you said you weren't nervous at all, even when they beat K Corp. But was there any point after you got knocked out that you jumped back into free play and just kept the fingers warm, just in case you had to play a tiebreaker?
You gotta stay vigilant all the time, you know. All
There
the
you
time.
go.
You know, I was in free play. That's my home. That's my bread and butter. So I was posted in free play, but I wasn't worried. But you've got to keep if the dream's still alive, then you can't take any chances. So yeah, I was in free play. I think we all were warming up just in case, but.
Yeah, so
we're just
you
watching
were
the stream when the
scared.
second
We
one.
know
I mean,
it.
he's been
We
free
know
playing
it.
the entire
terrified,
chat.
mate.
That's
free
true. He's a
playing.
free play merchant, so
Yeah.
we'll let you get away with that one. Nickname says, "What is Rise's thoughts on Dan and Beast Mode's move since they're both friends?"
Well, that's not
Is this
how
a
it
friendship
works, bro.
move?
That's not how it works, bro. That's not because. Should I reveal something to the general public, guys? What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, do it.
Well, that's a very
Because
vague.
when CJ, that good on mate. I just clocked what you're doing. I almost fell for your trap. But I'm gonna say it anyway. So when V1 were gonna get me, it was already in the works that Daniel would have been coming next, Like it would have happened anyway, if you know what I mean. Like that was already something that was in the works. So I don't think it was a friendship move at all. Like this was something that was planned for a while. So yeah, no, it would have.
So you're saying Com should be like making the most of his last month with the team, or what do you think? What do you think the
I have
future of
no
this team
idea
is?
about their current plans. So I'm not going to comment on that. Like the team would have been me, Torment, and what's it called? It wouldn't. Com
Beast Mode.
wasn't the one on the
Beast Mode, yeah.
team. So yeah, I don't know what their plan is now that Com's still on the team.
There you go. Well, we'll finish with this one then. Joyo, if you win Worlds, firstly, will you invest in gold? And secondly, could you close the show in a scrub killer accent?
I've already been investing. I mean, I'm on my 6th ingot now, but I'm very picky with them because Scrub sends me them himself, and we like to be very thorough with our checks on the ingots. So
Purity.
the purity. We get them little magnifying glasses, like a really
And
small
diamond
one.
testers, but for gold.
Yeah, like diamond testers. I mean,
Gold
we really.
testers.
I get flown into Edinburgh, and
Well, from the north of
Well,
from the
like
north
his
of England
bitch.
to
You
Edinburgh.
just get flown in.
The
yeah,
largest
yeah.
flight ever. It's just like up and
Scrub
back.
flies me out.
Yeah.
Over the
and
hill.
We meet at the most pristine vault in all of Edinburgh, and we
Vault.
just
His
go
bedroom.
Under his bed.
yeah,
Uh,
and we check the purity. We got the testers, we got the magnifying glasses, we got everything, we got it all covered. There's been 6 ingots worth my time. Kyle's a bit
Wow.
more picky. He's only got 2 ingots in the past like month or so. Although he is a long time collector, he's got a couple hundred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
Are
been
you able
invested though.
to? Are you able to close out Chalkcast number 43, shouting out the Patreon as Scrub Killer?
Wait, how do I shout? What do I shout out all their names?
No, just shout.
No.
Just say. Make sure you subscribe. You know, make sure you. Tune in.
Okay. All right. Let me go get Carl real quick. All right, wait
Yep.
1 second. Bro, that's it for Chalkcast 43, bro. And you know, we've got to subscribe to the Patreon. We've all got to do it in unison, bro. If you subscribe to the Patreon, there's a lucky chance you might get some gold. But we're not sure yet, bro. It's not 100%, so
We know.
we're not sure yet, bro. But we're working on it, and we'll get you some class purity gold and class S gold, and you know we'll get it done. So thank you very much for watching Chalkcast 43. Thanks for all the members here, all the co-hosts here, and special guest Rise. It's been an absolute great show. Have an excellent night, everyone.